Got Darlington, we talked a little bit about it, the lady in black, the egg-shaped oval. Still got that minnow pond out there and turned 4 now. I have to remember, Jim, I used to go to the first time I went to Darlington, it was still the other way around.
Yeah. When you sit in the press box is still where the press box was.
Which is now in turn 3.
When the front back stretch was the front stretch.
Yep.
So when you don't get to see pit stops,
it's
a little hard, but you do see a lot of good action in 3 and 4, which lately is where a lot of stuff has taken place. I expect something very similar. Darlington hasn't disappointed yet, and I do not think it will disappoint as a cutoff race for the playoffs. I think there's a lot of opportunity here for people who are already well positioned to get better positioned. It's an excellent place, as Adam pointed out, for Tyler Reddick, who has run spectacular there, to cap off and clinch the regular season title. But it also provides an opportunity for some other people to solidify spots in the playoffs. Like Bubba Wallace has run there well, and Ross Chastain has been in the mix for several wins there of late. So I think the opportunity is there for a lot of people. It's also a very tough race that can end a lot of people's opportunities very quickly.
It's an interesting place because you would think, Adam, and for the most part, it favors veterans who understand tire management, who understand pacing yourself, because we talked about earlier, mentally it's such a tough place to be. But then every once in a while, somebody will pop up, some young whippersnapper will pop up and pick up a win there. When first time Eric Jones won
Jones
there.
Boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that Jones boy, picking up a win the first time. I remember seeing, I think Terry Labonte's first win was there. He just shocked everybody. But you see one of those every once in a while. I don't know if we'll see that this time around, though.
I don't know, who would fit into that category, but, Jim brought up Bubba's name, and he's in desperate need of a great performance, and so maybe it's his night to go out and walk off and put himself in the postseason. I do think that it favors those at the front of the field, and that's who I would anticipate to go out and get the win, but I'm very intrigued how those drivers around the cut line manage things. I mean, and we mentioned Bubba Wallace. Chris Buescher's got that final spot right now. What can Ross Chastain do in a year where they've been, frustrated, and he's been on this just horrible slide in the last 7-8 weeks? Could they do something to turn it around and put themselves into postseason? And then, you look at Ty Gibbs, plus 39. Everything seems good as long as we don't get a new winner. And how does he handle the pressure of the bubble on the final night at a very difficult racetrack as a young driver? So, the storylines are plentiful, and I was a huge fan of the Daytona race July 4th weekend. When it became the regular season finale, I can get into this. I don't mind mixing it up. I understand the calendar and the Olympic break is what created the situation we're in to keep Darlington on Labor Day weekend, but I think we're going to get a good show this weekend, and it's a fun little cutoff race.
And we alluded to this a little bit earlier, Jim. This is also a huge test for these pit crews, because this is, like Adam talked about it, getting on and off pit road is huge, especially getting on pit road. But for these pit crews, these guys are going to come down pit road 8, maybe 10 times.
Yeah, and we've seen people who have been in the mix of winning, on the verge of winning, and it get taken away, whether by it be like a penalty that happens during a pit stop or just getting beat off pit road on a pit stop. And it's certainly going to play in the factor here. And I think there's also an element which we haven't really touched on some of the people that I would say have nothing to lose this weekend. I would sort of put Kyle Busch in that situation, or even like a Chase Briscoe, or even a Michael McDowell, who has run very well at Darlington lately. Guys who I think probably aren't looking to try to think that they can point their way in, and will throw caution to the wind and do everything possible they can, and probably should, to try to come out using some unorthodox strategy. And I still think that could play into factor in this race, because it has, as we know, done before.
Easy night for the crew chiefs, though, Adam.
Oh, yeah. Well, it is, but I would also say managing your sets of tires, right? Yeah. And making sure, because if you have a whole bunch of cautions, you don't want to overuse early and back yourself in a corner late, which could open the door for an upset winner as well. But there's no question. The three of us could call this race. If you've been out there any length of time at all and pit road opens, we know exactly what's going to happen.
Every time.